Welcome to the stage, Young Beef. How are you? How are you?
Hey.
How are you? Hello. How are
I'm
you?
pretty good. Thanks for having me.
It's the pleasure is totally yes. And now you can start sharing your screen, and our team will display it on the event. Welcome to the stage. It's a pleasure to have such a relevant influencer in Polkadot and Kusama and the subsocial team. So perfect.
Thank you.
There we go. Perfect. So, and I'm going to disappear. Thank you, and the stage is totally yours.
All right, thank you. So yeah, I'm Young Beef working with Subsocial. I'm the content lead and community manager. If you're not familiar with Subsocial, we're basically building social infrastructure for Web3 projects. We'll get into that a little more in a minute. But today I'm going to be talking about how we're unlocking Web 2 level user experiences in Polkadot by using the technological power that Substrate provides us. So first, we already have a couple different apps built on Subsocial. You may know Polkaverse is sort of our main one that's been live for a couple of years already. It's kind of a mashup between Reddit and Medium. We also have FriendTube in development by a community developer. It's basically like decentralized YouTube. Grill Chat is our most recent app that we released. We've had a lot of success with that. That's the one we're going to be talking about a lot today. It basically is a on-chain chat. It's totally decentralized, censorship resistant, and the user experience is even better than Web 2, I would say. With Facebook or Twitter, you have to make an account first. Same thing with Discord, Telegram. With Grill Chat, you basically just open the website, send your first message, and you're good to go. So we'll get into that in a minute. So first, why are we building Subsocial? Currently, Subsocial, social media in Web 2 has a lot of problems with it. Basically, all of these ultimately stem from the fact that we do not control our data or our content or our connections or anything like that. So if I tweet something, Twitter can just delete it. They can ban my account. I lose all of my tweets, all of my followers, everyone that I'm following. Everything is totally gone. And I also can't take it with me if I want to go to a different platform, because if I don't like Twitter, if they're doing something I don't like, I can leave, but I lose all of my stuff. So people don't really leave. So we don't really have any bargaining power as users to fight back against these harmful things such as algorithm manipulation, etc. So by allowing users to actually own their content and connections on chain, we're effectively solving all of these problems. So Subsocial gives powers back to the users. You own your identity and your assets and your connections. The social graph is open. So the social graph is basically your digital connections, your friends, your followers, your subscribers, etc. And by owning that, you can actually own your monetization stream. If we take, for example, a YouTuber, if they do that full time, they make their living by YouTubing. If YouTube decides to ban them one day, they don't really have any recourse, and now they have no way to earn any income. So people should be able to own their monetization methods. And of course, content censorship resistance is a big thing. We see that a lot with modern social media. There are still moderation, which is different than censorship. So people won't be silenced for their different viewpoints. So how can we use Subsocial to provide a Web 2 onboarding experience for Web 3 communities? So that's what we're doing with Grill Chat. Very easy to use decentralized chat. It's mobile friendly because we've engineered it in a way where you don't need any tokens or extensions, which is very nice. If we're trying to onboard 1 billion users to Web3, if they have to download a wallet and set up a seed phrase and all of this, most people aren't going to do that. My grandma is definitely not going to. But she can use Grill Chat and she can do it from her phone. She doesn't have to go download an app like a MetaMask wallet on her phone either. You can just use the native mobile browser. So you just connect to Grill Chat, you send a message, it generates an account for you, and that account is stored in the browser's local storage. And if you want to, you can connect one of your wallets to add some additional features. But it's really easy and fast to integrate GrillChat. So we already have a little widget that you can add to your website as sort of a pop-up window in the corner. We have a couple websites that have already added that, such as Polkassembly and the Zeitgeist app, along with SubID and Polkadot Study. And perhaps most importantly, it's totally free for the end users. So the applications are basically sponsoring all of the transactions for their users. So you don't have to get any tokens. It's a really big hurdle, and if you're trying to use a new project, you have to go get the token first. We've basically gotten rid of that. So why is Substrate so powerful for Web3 social? Well, it allows us to do a lot of stuff. As you can see here in this image, we have subsocial at the bottom, and we're also working with other parachains such as Crust Network to handle storage. And then we have the main subsocial tech stack in the middle with our SDK, indexers, IPFS for file storage, etc. And all of this powers the applications. So GrillChat, and then every other application is integrated GrillChat as well. And this can scale up to 10,000 apps or more. It allows real-time interactions and openly accessible social graphs. So anyone can just go build an application and access all of the social data. If you compare that to Facebook or Twitter, where it's really closed because their business model depends on that data. Lots of social monetization features, subscriptions, donations, NFT gating, this sort of thing. And we have a playground for really easy developer experiments for building cool new applications. So Subsocial is designed for social use cases from the ground up. You can compare this to other, there's social platforms on Ethereum, but Ethereum is not designed for social use cases, so there's a lot of drawbacks to that. With Subsocial, we're basically focusing on building social primitives such as usernames, posts, comments, reactions, etc., and then making it easier for developers to leverage those to build cool applications. We also have additional things built on top of that, such as our energy system and our off-chain signer system, which are basically how we provide these Web2 UX solutions. So users don't need a wallet, they don't need tokens, they can just use social features in applications. So we believe this is a better social UX, and it is really only possible on Polkadot because of the technology that Substrate provides us. So a really cool thing with this technology is you can have one discourse or one chat, one discussion across many different clients. You can actually see this today, as I mentioned earlier, that the Zeitgeist app has already integrated our GrillChat plugin. So we have a Zeitgeist chat room, and you can access it from the Zeitgeist app or the GrillChat app, or also from SubID. So there's 3 different user interfaces, but it's all the same chat. So this could be expanded to, you could have comments on an NFT, and you could have 2 or 3 different NFT marketplaces that all have that NFT listed, but you would have one discussion, even though you can see it on all the different websites. So this is great. It lets users be able to choose, what user interface they want to use, which website has a better user experience, but they're not missing out on any discussion. Nothing's being fragmented. Versus there's some people that use Facebook or they use Twitter because they like the user experience and the user interface better. But users on Twitter cannot interact with users on Facebook because they're separated. So this basically unifies everything together. And creating high quality social apps is pretty difficult. Making a good UX is very challenging. There's a lot of things that go into that, as well as implementing moderation. Trying to make it mobile friendly is a big deal, or building a whole app all for that. So basically, we're solving all of this for you, and then you as a developer can just focus on making cool stuff. So GrillChat is basically a high-level platform for creating social applications. You can easily get started with it. We have the extensions functionality. You can kind of think of this as like extensions on your web browser. You can easily add them, easy to develop, and then just add additional functionality. So here we can see an example of a donation extension that allows people to donate on EVM chains. So as long as someone has their EVM account linked to their Grill account, you can send them some USDT or USDC Polygon, or Ethereum. We have a lot of Web3 features and productions. We already have NFT integrations. So you can link NFTs from a couple popular websites, such as Spacer NFTs here. Donations, as I mentioned, and ENS identities. We're working on adding Substrate wallet connections as well, which will open up a lot of possibilities in the ecosystem. And lots of other possible extensions. Working on community hubs, context menus. I believe last week at FCC, Stanny, the founder of Lens, talked about something similar to context menus, where basically any application can link into the chat, and you can have a button for, for example, you could do DeFi swaps directly in the chat, which would be pretty cool. So how are we using blockchain to grow the ecosystem? Right now, we're working on a create-to-earn system. Is inspired by a Star's dApp staking system, but we've taken it and expanded it to also include content creators or community creators, as those are extra important when building a social network. So I believe the code for this is in review right now, and then we'll be testing it, but it should be out pretty soon. So if you're a dApp developer or a content creator, keep an eye out for this. And I believe we're working on some interesting ways to make it not something where it's set and forget, but where you have to actively engage to stay staked, basically. So we're really confident that this will provide some good growth with the network. So that's all we've got, and we'll see you at the grill. You can find that at grill.chat is the URL. If you're curious to know more about Subsocial, subsocial.network is our address. You can go to subsocial.network/links to get all of our links for social channels, etc.
That was amazing. Thank you. I think that Subsocial is improving. A lot of applications in Web2 like Twitter, Instagram, and bringing them to the Web3 world through decentralized technology. So now I have a question for you, Young Beef. It's about where do you see Subsocial in 2 or 3 years? Can you make a prediction? Some stuff there going on there?
Yeah, I think we will continue to improve on our user experience features, but the main thing will be trying to integrate social features into as many applications as possible. Right now, most, if you think about like what Web2 apps do you use most, they're pretty much all social applications at the heart of it. But a lot of Web3 applications don't have any social features. We think that needs to change, and from a business perspective, adding social features is a big plus. It improves retention and user engagement. And we're always talking about the Web3 ethos, but then if I go to a new project and then I want to join the community, I have to go on Discord or Telegram. It seems a little weird. So we're basically going to be working on moving communities on chain, communication on chain, unifying communication, and sort of adding social features to every application, and then really building a lot of social primitives to enable really cool social use cases that are not possible in Web2.
And now, just the most value of Subsocial, the feature that adds the most value, an interesting feature to Subsocial.
As far as the most value, it's the ability to own your content. That's basically the defining difference between Web3 social and Web2. Because that right there will prevent all of the problems that we see with Web2. But the coolest feature is probably, my favorite right now at least, is that you can use Grill Chat and just be totally anonymous, and you can just make a new account. So I'll go through 3 or 4 different accounts a day just to make sure I stay totally anonymous. But of course, if you want to link your identity, you can. But I think for things like governance discussion and stuff like that, being able to remain totally anonymous will be a nice feature.
That's perfect. And now the final question of the stage. Why to build on Polkadot? It's the same question I make to Nino. Why is Polkadot so important for Subsocial and for the Web3 world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went over it a bit in the presentation, but I guess I'll get a 2-part answer. The sort of the origin story with Subsocial was our founder Alex was at Sub-Zero, I think, in 2018, and Gavin Wood basically took a brand new laptop and within 30 minutes of opening the package had already set up a blockchain and had a chain running using Substrate. And so Alex thought like, wow, this is really powerful, so we need to use that. And it's true, Substrate is really good for building blockchains, especially building a custom chain for social use cases like we're doing. It allows you to build a lot of cool stuff. So that's sort of why Substrate, which is related to Polkadot, but specifically why Polkadot, my classic answer is it gives us the best of both worlds. If we look at other Web3 social projects, we can look at the originals like Steemit and Hive from 8 years ago. They were built with their own blockchains. They're sort of custom built for social use cases, but they're totally isolated. So if you want to interact with DeFi or anything else in the ecosystem, you have to use a bridge. We all know bridges are expensive, slow, they get hacked all the time. It's not really a great solution. Versus we can look at other things like Lens recently being built on Polygon. So that is part of an ecosystem. You don't have to use a bridge or anything, but it's built on top of a general chain. So there's a lot of stuff that they're limited, they can't do because they don't actually control how the blockchain is built. And they're also competing with lots of other applications, so you can have some NFT mint that's super hype and the gas skyrockets and all of a sudden no one can make a post or like a comment. So that's not really optimal either. So Subsocial, we get the best of both worlds. We have a custom built blockchain. It's just used for social. We're not competing with anything else. But we're also part of an ecosystem without having to use bridges.
So perfect. Thank you so much, Young Beef, for being with us today. It was a pleasure. I clap for you. So thank you. And now we are going to jump into our next interview. Thank you, Young Beef.